the first thing you want to think about whenever somebody takes your back is protecting yourself from the choke, okay? So I like to take both of my arms and I like to reach up, control his sleeve, and control high, like near his shoulder delt area, up on like the tricep. And I'm gonna be pulling his arm down and around the corner, okay? And this is to kind of reverse the force he's gonna be doing with the rear naked choke and the collar choke. So if you look at the rear naked choke, he's typically gonna be coming up with his arm, hugging my shoulder, and then he's gonna start choking me like that, okay? If he has the collar, he's not gonna be going up as much, he's gonna be going around the corner like this, okay? So I'm doing the opposite of both of those, all right? So as soon as he gets the seatbelt, I'm going up with both arms, I'm pulling down and around the corner. And if you do this with a partner, you're gonna feel right away how difficult it would be to try to pursue the choke from here, okay? So I'm gonna be using my arms to do this, defend the choke, until I change our body position so that the choke isn't a threat anymore, okay? And by what I mean by that is we're looking for my back and my hips to be misaligned with his back and hips. So it's gonna look something like this. So if we rotate, Trab, this way, when I can stop defending the choke is when I've made our bodies like this, here. So you see his hips and shoulders are facing this way, my back and hips and everything are facing this way. We're like perpendicular to each other, okay? And I'm only gonna be doing this working with my legs, okay? And when I get to this position, it's very hard for him to rear naked choke me. It's just not a good angle. And he doesn't have enough like pull around the corner to actually get closed blood flow on my carotids right here. So this is what I'm looking for once I've defended myself from the choke initially. All right, so if we come back, say my partner has both hooks here, I'm defending the choke. I'm gonna be working with my legs to start to push myself as high up onto Trav's body as I can to start to like misalign our shoulders this way. And then I'll start to push myself away from this choking arm to the ground over here, okay? So watch how I work with my leg. Let's rotate sideways this way. I put my feet on the floor and I start to push myself up, 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 up. Really working with my legs and my hamstrings here, keeping my feet on the ground active, okay? I'm walking around here. I'm really working with my legs here. Even though he's got hooks, you're gonna have to fight that control and be able to maneuver while your hands aren't able to touch the floor and kind of help you, okay? Once I get here and I'm really, really high, pushing myself above his head, then I'm gonna think about moving myself off to that bad side and looking to misalign our hips, okay? So let's move back to the middle a little bit. Okay, so I walk myself up with my feet, and now I'm gonna be crab walking sideways and fighting the friction of his legs, trying to keep our bodies aligned, okay? So this is the wrong way to do it. I'm gonna show you right now the wrong way to do it. Watch. This is me kind of succumbing to the friction and control of his legs and keeping our hips aligned. This is wrong. Look, look. 1, 2, 3. You see how we're both facing the same direction, okay? So now I'm gonna do it again, and you're gonna notice small movements in my hips to break the friction of his legs controlling me. So watch, keep your legs like kind of strong, Trav. There we go. Look, 1, there it is right there. 2, right there. Look how his bottom hook is already falling off. His hips are facing this way. My hips and shoulders are facing straight up. Okay, let's go back to the middle. So that's the next thing we're gonna be doing, is walking ourselves back, and then we're walking to the side and we're trying to get to that precious misaligned position where we don't have to worry about this choke anymore. Okay, so I double up, I start to dominate this arm, making sure I'm safe from anything finishing the fight or choking me out, and I start working with my legs, pushing myself up, pushing myself up, pushing myself up, and now I'm walking sideways and I'm breaking that friction in his legs. Watch. 1, keep your legs kind of strong. 2, watch this rotation of my hip. Boom, right there. 3, boom, right there. And if you look here, we're in that position I was talking about earlier.
He's this way, I'm this way, okay? Trav is already struggling to keep his bottom hook in, and look, he can't even choke me from this position, okay? Couple of things to note. Once we get to this safe spot right here, keep your body weight, my lower back right here, keep your body weight on his bottom hook right here. So I'm resting my weight on his femur, okay? The reason I say that is the only way he's gonna choke you from here is if he can realign his body with your body, okay? So stop for 1 second. If I lift my hips off of his leg, he's gonna be able to readjust himself. Look at that. Now I'm in danger. Now I have to go back to that choke. I have to go back to dominating that arm, and I have to slowly walk my way back to this position and make sure I don't pick my hips up again until I'm actually escaped, okay? Now, if his hook is still hanging onto your leg, you can use your hands now down here to start peeling the hook off. Let's rotate. So I can use my hands to start peeling the hook off because I'm not worried about this choking grip. Okay, I'm not worried about this. So I'll reach down and grab the heel and I'll start to pull his leg off. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on the ground and I'm gonna step my foot in front of his leg like this. It's just like a pillar that's blocking his ability to extend his leg. Okay, the reason I wanna stop that is if I just have my leg kicked out like this and I start to move around to escape, he's gonna extend this leg out and he's gonna use it to pick me back up and reset me to that other side again. Okay, so once I walk out and I clear that hook off, I'm blocking the path of that bottom leg. So now he's really trapped in this position. Okay, so now what I'm thinking about doing is rotating myself even further to face him. And right here it's kind of difficult because their seatbelt can be really tight. They're squeezing really hard like this. They're probably like trying to take mount or something like that. I'm just gonna keep my leg pinched right here, keeping his leg kind of like forcing him to keep one leg in the middle. And I'm gonna bring this arm as far across my body as I can. And then I'm gonna start wedging my elbow between his thigh and my ribs like this, bam. So now I'm starting to separate us a little bit at the hips and alleviate some of that friction with his body attaching to my body, okay? Once I get this arm inside, you're gonna feel you can start to rotate and pry him away and finish your rotation here, okay? Now, let's rotate a little bit. If everything's, let's go down this way a little bit. If everything's going really well and you're going for your escape, a lot of times I can just do one hip escape and rely on this frame against his hip to keep enough space for him not to be able to come on top and get like a nice knee cut or something like that. Okay, so I'll just use my feet on the ground. I'll finally move my hips off of that bottom leg and I'm pushing with my wedge between his hips like this. As he comes up, you see he has an underhook. I have a couple of options. For you deep half players, you can take this frame with your right hand right here and you can swim it underneath. Bam. So now as he starts to come on top, I'm hiking him up with my arm, and now I can start to play deep half. I can start to reach down, look for my waiter position here, okay? I've kind of like, I have anything I want, I'm underneath, okay? Let's go back to that position real quick. One hook in, switch your seatbelt. Oh yeah. Boom. So we're like this. I bring my arm across, I get my wedge, okay? Very important you bring this arm across because if you try to go straight down at the hip, you're not gonna have enough room. Okay, bring it all the way across, start to wedge inside. I'm pinching my legs right here, making sure he doesn't take mount or anything, okay? And now I'm prying with my right arm and rotating, thinking about using the mat to peel him off of my back. Like there's some big like jungle bug on my back and I'm just like scraping him off, okay? I'm just rotating and using the mat to get him off of my body, okay? If you don't, let's rotate, go back this way. If you don't like to play deep half, you don't want to go to deep half, you can just use this frame against his hip and bring your other arm over the top right here against under his neck like a normal frame and start to push him above your head as he comes up. So he starts to come up. Look how I'm framing him up. My knees and hips are pushing him up And then I start to recenter myself with my arms, look, like this. And I'm just thinking about getting him back in front of my shins and then back in front of my feet to completely recover my guard, okay? Let's go back to that position real quick. My favorite way to escape this position, let's go in the middle. My favorite way to escape this position, once I get my arm inside, I actually like to allow him to bring his leg over to mount, like this. Because he doesn't actually have the ability to mount with this frame between us, okay? And as he starts to come on top, I'm just gonna hip escape this way and insert my bottom knee into that space I've created using this wedge right here, okay? So pretend he has the underhook. Don't get the underhook, but just pretend so you can see. I'm doing like this, look, 1, 2, and I'm putting my knee inside. And then once he starts to come on top, I have single leg X, okay? Let's go back to the beginning. Switch your arms, please. Okay, so we're here. First thing, protect the choke. I'm reaching up really, really high, pulling his arm down and around, okay? If you want, if you're not as dynamic with your legs, it's very difficult to work with just your legs and you need one arm free. Something I like to do is dominate this arm, like start to pull it down and around, and then bring this arm that's high all the way up as high as you can and grab 4 fingers in his collar, like this. So I'm reaching into Trap's collar. Let's move a little bit. See that right there? I'm grabbing in his collar, and this is gonna let me accomplish with one arm what I was doing with 2, okay? So I reach up as high as I can, I put 4 fingers in, and then I'm closing my elbow down on his tricep, like this, okay? And now it's pushing his arm down and around just by doing this motion on his tricep. Now if I need to, I can work with my hands to clear the hook or whatever I wanna do, okay? I usually don't feel like I need to do this. I usually can use 2 and just work with my feet, but if you want a little bit of extra control, you can do that too, okay? So I'm controlling, feet on the floor, push yourself as high as you can first, like this, boom. Let's rotate. And another thing I like to do, whenever I get here, I walk myself as high as I can. Look, I'm really pushing my body like high up into his seatbelt, okay? And then I bring my head towards my feet like this. So I'm lifting my head, and I'm gonna bring my head to the other side of his head, like that. And now I'm gonna push my weight into the ground. And this is gonna be just a little bit something extra to make it difficult for him to pull you back to this side away from that hook you're trying to clear, okay? So another thing you can do is bring yourself up, bring your head around, and then push it down into the ground on the other side of his body. All right, and now I'm just doing the same thing. I'm walking myself out, and then I'm rotating my hips to break that friction and keeping my hips facing up while he gets faced towards the wall like this. Keep your hooks kind of strong. Look, I walk, rotate, walk, rotate. See, his hook is already falling off. That's what you want to get good at right there. That's probably the part where people mess up the most. They go to the side and they end up like this. Okay, so really practice that right there, that hip break of the friction of his legs holding onto you. And you're really using your legs here to do that here. So I can't have my legs dead on the ground like this. I have to work with my feet on the ground and push off of the floor with this leg and my other leg, and that's gonna let me rotate my hips and drop that hook. Okay, once I get that hook off, I need to step in front of it with my bottom leg, okay? And now I'm just keeping my weight on his leg, making sure he can't recenter. He can't choke me from here, so I'm not even worried about holding onto this arm anymore. My hands are down here dealing with hooks. My arm is coming across, so I can start to get that wedge. And now once I get that wedge between the hips, all bets are off. Back control is gone. I'm just hip escaping away and really pushing against his hips really hard. If he wants to come up to mount, I'm keeping that space open and I'm bringing that knee inside, okay? If he wants to come up to half guard, I can swim this arm inside, start to play my deep half, okay? If he wants to come up with a strong underhook, I'm bringing this arm in front of his face and I'm framing up with my forearm, framing up with my forearm on the hip, and using my knees here to bring everything above my head. And now I'm going from my forearms to my shins, like a knee shield or any kind of thing, butterfly guard where he's against my shins. And then I'm not stopping here, guys. I'm recovering all the way until my feet are in front of his body in some way. Spider guard, De La Hiva. You could even recover to like a sit-up guard. You could stand all the way up. The bottom line is you want to make as much disconnection as you can in space once you get that wedge on the hip, so you can recover into like a fruitful position. You don't want to recover into like another like passing drill for them where they get on top, they have an underhook, and they just pass you all over again. Okay, so this is the basic way I like to deal with back control. I would say the order goes: deal with the main threat first, the choke. Just double up on that arm. Get used to controlling that arm, feeling safe and confident in this control, and understanding that once you change that body position where your shoulders and hips are perpendicular with theirs, like I showed, then you don't need to worry about the choke as much, and you can really just like stay in the pocket of that like uncomfortable position for him and use that to escape. Okay, there are some other drills and techniques you can do to follow up with this, because the person who's attacking is going to try to like continue to control your back. They're going to do resets and stuff, and we can still apply this concept while they're moving and trying to like keep the back. So we'll work on that next, but try this out. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and make sure you like and share this video.